to the words of Yahweh, saying, write the complete history of creation. How in 6 days Yahweh Elohim finished all his work and all that he created, and kept the Shabbat on the 7th day, and sanctified it for all ages, and appointed it as a sign for all his works. Listen to this. For on the first day he created the Shamayim, that's the heavens, and which are above, and the earth, or Haaretz, and the Mayim, and all the Ruhut. He created all the Ruhut which served before him, the angels of the presence, the angel of sanctification, the angel of the Ruh of fire, the angels of the Ruh of winds, the angels of the Ruh of the clouds, and of darkness. So that means darkness was created on the first day. So people always say evening can't come because Yahweh don't walk in darkness. He says his cloud is darkness. He comes in a cloud of darkness, and his eyes are 10,000 times brighter than the sun. How darkness is going to affect him? Darkness don't affect him.
He waited until the darkness to cut covenant with Abraham.
Thank you.
He waited all day long,
Darkness
but then when the
fell on
darkness fell, he cut the covenant.
Come on. Is that not book?
That's book.
And that was the beginning of the day, by the way, too,
Yeah.
because he waited the darkness fall and he cut
And then
the
you
covenant.
have the day, right?
Come on, man. We're not adding to the text. It's right there. And snow, and of hail, and of hoarfrost, and darkness in Abra is Hushak. You can look it up. Hushak. And of snow, and hail, and hoarfrost, and the angels of the voices, and the thunder, and the lightning, and the angels of the Ruhut, of cold, and of heat, and of winter, and spring, autumn, summer, and all the Ruhut of his creatures, and which all the Shemayim of heavens and Haaretz on the earth. Let me say this, because I seen the 4 seasons in the winter, spring, fall, and summer. I seen an ark that believe like we do. I gotta find it. If you know anybody, or if you that ark, they had the 30, 30, 31, 91 day quarters. But what they had was at the end of that 30th day on that 3rd month, or each beginning of the ending of that quarter, that first day, let's say it was spring, and then that 91st day was spring. Then the 91st day of the second quarter was summer. And then the 91st day of that quarter was fall, and the 91st day was winter. It was a beautiful calendar. I don't know who made that, but if you are the one who put that together, please send me that. Or if you follow that, please send that, because that was perfect. It was actually what we believed, but he had each 91 day hitting that Moedim, or that season. It was great job, whoever did it. He created abysses and the darkness. Look at that. He created abysses and the darkness, evening and night, and the light, dawn and day, which he prepared of knowledge of his heart, whereupon he saw his works and praised him and lauded before him on this account of his ma'ashim, or works. For 7 great works did he on the first day. So if you're waiting on the sun to rise to keep your Shabbat, or waiting on the sun to rise to start your day, you are in error. Because we see right there on the first day, days already existed. It wasn't until the 4th day that the sun was created. How then can you do this? And that's just a plea to you to really look into the scripts and follow them. Let's go to Hanuk now. This is Hanuk. And this is 1. This is Hanuk, actually 72 and 1. It may be 71 in your Etsefer if you have the Etsefer. If you don't have an updated version, it may be 71. But this is how it starts off. I'm going to read this to make sure that this is the one that you have starting off, and then we'll finish it. The Sefer of the revolutions of the luminaries of Shemayim, or heaven. That's how it should start off. The law, the book, however you translate it. The Sefer of the revolutions of the luminaries of heaven, according to their respective classes, their respective powers, their respective periods, their respective names, their progress, and their respective months that are renewing. It's the English word that is giving us months. And people say, well, month and moon is the same derivative. But it's the English word. That word should still be hadash, or renewing. It's renewing account for every day, for every period that Yahweh is giving. And their respective months, which Uriel, that name means light of Elohim. The Kadash angel who was with me explained to me, he who conducted them, the whole account of them, according to every year of the world forever, until a new work shall be effected, which will be eternal. This is the first law of the luminaries. It didn't say that this came first. The sun didn't come first. This is the first law of the luminaries. Do we catch that? The sun and the light arrives at the gate of heaven, which is on the east, and on the west at the western gates of heaven. I beheld the gates which the sun goes forth. Pay attention to this. And the gates where the sun sets, in which gates also the moon rises and sets. It put them both together. Just because it started out with the sun don't mean that that's the thing. You got to go together. So he says this is the first law. The sun and the moon operate together. That's why we tell you that our month ending, the last of the 12th month, is equal parts. You have 9 parts day, 9 parts night. You have equal part night and day. Why? Because when that new year comes up, that eclipse that we see, that sharing of time, parts off, and the moon brings on all the years exactly. But we're going to read this. I'm not just stopping right there. I'm just showing you. In which gates also the moon rises and sets, and the conductors of the stars among who precede them, 6 at the rising and 6 at the setting of the sun. It puts it both together. Not the sun, not the moon. Listen. All these respectively, one after another, are on a level. Numerous windows are on the right and on the left sides of the gates. First, and here we go. Now you hear first. First proceeds forth that great luminary, which is called the sun, the orb of which is of orb of heaven, and the whole being of it replete with splendor, fire, and flame. Why is that? Because if you're following where we are, evening and daylight are the day completion, right? So daylight completes our days. Evening and the morning are the first days. So first the sun has to complete its route. Once it's set, then our year starts again. You get what I'm saying? It's the count. It's not saying, we're not ignoring this script that says first the sun comes out, but he's talking about the completion. Why? I'm going to show you why. Let me calm down. I get excited. Let me show you why. First proceeds forth the great luminary, which is called the sun, the orb, which is the orb of heaven, the whole being complete within the flaming fire. Its chariot, where it ascends, the wind blows. The sun sets. See, it's talking about the completion. And returning to by the north to proceed towards the east. It's conducted so as to enter by the gate and illuminate the face of heaven. In the same manner it goes forth in the first month by the great gate. Why is it starting the first month? Because the first month is where we begin our count. We're starting at Abib. That's the first month. So once it completes, is what is it saying? The day before it completes its cycle. I'm going to show you. I'm not just making this up. This is script. So in the same manner it goes forth in the first month by the great gate. It goes forth through the fourth of those 6 gates. See, it's already in the 4th gate. Why? It's 12 gates. Why is it already in the fourth of those 6 gates? Why is it already in the 4th gate? People are not answering these questions. They're not looking. They're just reading, trying to get a defense. You get what I'm saying? I'm going to show you. I'm going to carefully read through this because I get excited. It goes forth through the 4th of those 6 gates, which are at the rising of the sun. And the 4th gate, which the sun rises in the 4th month, first month, there are 12 open windows, from which it issues out a flame when they are open in their proper periods. The sun rises in Shemaim, or heaven. It goes forth through its 4th gate 30 days. So, to say that the sun is rising and that's the only thing going, he said the moon goes with it. You can't do that because the sun and the moon are going together and they complete 30 days. This is where I get my first 30 days from. So here we go. And by the 4th gate in the west of heaven on a level where it descends. During that period, the day is lengthened from the day, and the night curtailed from the night 30 days. That's your first 30. You can write this down. And then the day is longer by 2 parts than the night. The day is precisely 10 parts and the night is 8. It's clear. The sun goes forth through its 4th gate and sets in it and turns into the 5th gate during 30 days, after which it proceeds from and sets in the 5th gate. The sun is leading, the moon is following. But I'm going to show you something in a second. I want you to pay attention. It's like you can't have a full clock without the big hand and the little hand. Do y'all catch me? You can have a clock, but unless you have the big hand, little hand completing each cycle, it's not even working. You notice that if your clock even break, if your hand's not moving, you have lost your time. It's the same thing with Yahweh. I'm finna show you. And then the day becomes lengthened by a second portion, that is 11 parts. While the night becomes shortened, it is only 7 parts. The sun now returns to the east. What does it do in the east? It's setting in the east. You get what I'm saying? Or it's setting in the west, sorry, and it rises in the east. But it says, entering into the 6th gate, and rises and setting in the 6th gate 31 days on account of its sign. So it's not just the rising, it's the setting. You got to go with the full completion. Am I making sense? I'm sorry.
It's making a lot of sense.
I just want to make sense. I don't, because I know I'm real careful how I touch this book, because I know I want to make complete sense. So what I'm saying is, it's a cycle. The sun's coming up is not the only thing that constitutes today. It has to come up and set to clock. It's like, soon as it rises and set, there's a timepiece. Soon as it rises and set. Well, when it's doing that, the moon is rising and setting. Everything is completing a certain number. That's why I say renewing. It has to complete that. Rise, set, count. So you got to go by that. So now we've done the 30, 30, 31. So watch this. We're at 18. At that period, the day is longer than the night, being twice the night, and becomes 12 parts. But the night is shortened and becomes 6 parts. Then the sun rises up, and the day may be shortened and the night lengthened. And the sun returns towards the east, entering into the 6th gate, where it rises and sets for 30 days. So people saying the sun rises, how they keep their day, it's saying rising and set at the same time. So what's bringing this on? We getting there. I just want you to hear rising and set. You can't just use sunrise as a clocking of your day. You're not weighing just judgment. And when that period is completed, the day becomes short and precisely 1 part. So it is 11 parts, while the night is 7 parts. The sun goes from the west, from the 6th gate, and proceeds eastward, rising in the 5th gate for 30 days, setting again westwards in the 5th gate of the west. At that period, the days become shortened 2 parts, and it's 10 parts, while the night is 8 parts. Remember, we started at the first month. I want you to remember that, because we're going through these months. Then the sun goes through the 5th gate, as it sets in the 5th gate of the west, rises in the 4th gate for 31 days, on account of its sign, setting in the west. At that period, the day is made equal with the night. And being equal with it, the night becomes 9 part, and the day comes 9 part. And the sun goes forth from that gate as it sets in the west, and returning to the east, precedes the 3rd gate for 30 days, setting in the west at the 3rd gate. That period of the night is lengthened from the day during 30 mornings, and the day is curtailed from the day for 30 days, and the night becomes 10 parts precisely, and the day 8 parts. The sun now goes down from the 3rd gate, and goes from the 3rd gate, Salaki, and sets in the 3rd gate in the west, and returning to the east, it precedes the 2nd gate east for 30 days. In like manner, it also sets in the 2nd gate of the west in heaven. At that period, the night is 11 parts, the days is 7 parts. Then the sun goes from that time in the 2nd gate, as it sets in the 2nd gate of the west, but returns to the east, proceeding in the 1st gate for 31 days. And it sets in the west of the 1st gate. At that period, the night is lengthened as much again as the day. It is 12 parts precisely, while the day is 6 parts. The sun has completed its beginnings, and the 2nd time goes around from these beginnings. Look at this. Into the gate it enters 30 days. It sets in the west and opposite part. At the period, the night is contracted in its length 4 parts. That is 1 portion, and it becomes 11 parts. The day is 7 parts. The sun returns and enters into the gate at the 2nd gate of the east. It returns by the beginning 30 days, rising and setting. Not just rising. And I'm getting to a place, please. At the period, the night is contracted in its length. It becomes 10 parts, and the day 8 parts. The sun goes from that 2nd gate and sets in the west, but returns to the east and rises in the east in the 3rd gate, 31 days, setting at the west of heaven. It's going through gates. That's why people think that we're revolving around the sun, which happened by heliocentric pagans. It's not. It's going into gates. That's why we can't. That's why when people ask, it can't be answered unless you're reading the scripts. It's going through gates. So watch this. And at that period, the night becomes short. This is 72:42. It is 9 parts, and the night is equal with the day. The last day of that month. I'm reading it. I read you all that to do that. If you did the math, it's 30, 30, 31, 4 times. That's what we just did, which is 91 day quarters times 4. Watch what this is. At that period, the night becomes shortened. It is 9 parts, and the night is equal with the day. The year is precisely 364 days. Do you hear that? So let me finish this, because I want y'all to see. And the lengthening of the day and the night and the contraction of the day and night are made and differ from one another by progress of the sun. So the sun is changing because you got to follow it. It is the Gadul or that Yahuwah created in the 4th day. He can't leave it out. And the moon is the Katan order, which is the lesser order, the small order, the little order. He says this. So watch this. By means of this progress, the day is daily lengthened, the night is greatly shortened. This is the law and progress of the sun, and it's turning when it turns back from during 60 days and going forth. This is the great everlasting luminary, which he names Shamash, or the sun forever. It also is that which goes forth in a great luminary, which is named after its peculiar kind as Elohim commanded. And thus it goes in and out, neither slackening or resting. It says in the beginning of Hanuk that the sun and the moon obey their cycle, thus keeping the Shabbat, because they are beaten to it. Watch this. But running on its chariot by day and night. By day and night. Its light is 7 times brighter than that of the moon, but the dimensions are equal. People always giving me the eclipse. Like how, because the sun has to be revolving, the moon just gets in front of it at a perfect time of distance because the sun is 93 miles away. It says its dimensions are equal.
Just one is brighter than the other. 7 times brighter.
Now let's flip over. We still going. After that law, I beheld another law and an inferior luminary. This is the cotton, the moon. The name of which is the moon. The orb of which is the orb of heaven. People start at 72 and instantly stop like that's it. You gotta keep going. He ain't finished, he writing. Its chariot secretly ascends, the wind blows, the light is given to it by measure. You see that? Every month at its exit and entry, it becomes changed. And its periods are as the periods of the sun. And when the moon is full, see, people go crazy when they see stuff. When the moon is full, its light is a 7th portion from the light of the sun. And that's the mention of the full moon. No, not in the scripts we read.
So what does 7th portion mean exactly?
7 portions because it's 7 times brighter. So when the moon is full, it's 1/7 as bright as the sun.
So even at the fullest moon, it's still only a 7th
right.
of the brightness of the sun.
Right, because it gives its own light. See, schools teach us that the moon gets its sun from the gets its light from the sun. But that's not true, because it's even scientists. You can look it up. They went into moonlight, and it's cool. The light is cool because the moonlight gives off a different temperature. It gives off its own light, just like Hanuk says. Even though, because you don't always see the sun with the moon. They're following each other. Well, the moon is following the sun. So watch this. So thus it rises at the commencement towards the east, forth for 30 days. That's your count again. That 30 days. You can't have 29.5. 28 days, lunar cycle people. Lunatics are losing it. You gotta go by this count. Because if you don't, the formula gonna be off. So watch this. At that time it appears. At this time it appears and becomes to you the beginning of the month.
So it just told us.
The moon brings on the beginning. I'm still reading. I'm going to read that. But it says, it becomes to you beginning of the month. 30 days with the sun in the gate from which the sun goes forth.
Just told us.
The moon is the beginning of the month. Now, if the sun was, why didn't it say that like that? Look how clear that is. We're not adding anything. It says the sun go through the gate first.
Right.
But it says it has to rise
and set. And then you have a beginning.
Man,
so this is clearly telling us.
73 and 5. If you got it, look at this. I'm still reading, and I've been cautious to read this Because in our microwave generation, our attention span is super short.
Yeah, because I see we're
losing people.
You lose
I'm reading too
people
much.
that don't want to hear the
Because
reading.
they don't want, and you're not going to go do it yourself. You're going to
Right.
want an elder to
You
tell
want
you,
somebody
and he
else
told you
to
wrong.
tell
I want to read this so you'll see. I'm not making nothing up.
I was going to address
promise
that.
you. Man, hallelujah, who, man.
I was going to address it.
At this time it appears and becomes to you the beginning of the month. He said Abib was the beginning of months for us. They left out what? At night. It told us clearly when they left out. You know, when everything happened to Poseidon, everything, they made haste. So watch this. 30 days with the sun in the gate from the sun goes forth. Half of it extends 7 portions. 1, the whole of his orb is void of light, except for a 7th portion out of the 14 portions of his light. And in the day it receives a 7th portion or half of its light, the light is by sevens, by 1 portion and by the half, and it sets with the sun. And when the sun rises, the moon rises with it. I did a video in my robe. My wife said, boy, you look rough on that video. I was in my robe. I jumped out to show y'all. I'll find it and put it back up. The sun and moon were up in the sky together.
Yeah. At the same time.
I'll have to find that robe video.
You remember that picture I sent y'all from the airplane?
Yeah. Ain't that something?
When
Man, it just confirms. It's receiving a half portion of the light. On the night, when it commences its period, previously to the day of the month, the moon sets with the sun. And on the day that it is dark 14 portions, that is half, but it rises that day on the 7th portion precisely, and its progress declines from the rising of the sun. During the remainder of its period, its light increases to 14 portions. Now this is 74. I'm reading bear with me. I'm going to show you this. 74 and 1. Then I saw another progress. He's showing every progress. He's not giving you one and believing it. He's giving you the whole weighty matter of Yahuwah. He is called as Hanuk, the perfect scribe. His perfection was the one to be trusted to do this. I know he won't add to it.
How was he not?
Man, come on, man.
You go ahead and say the moon starts, you know what I'm saying, the month and day.
Come on, it ain't over. It ain't over.
It ain't over though.
Then I saw another progress and regulation he effected in the law of the moon. The progress of moons and everything. Uriel showed me the Kadash angel who conducted them all. This is the one in charge. The stations I wrote down as he showed me. I wrote down the months as they occurred and the appearance of their light until I completed it in 15 days. He sat down in 15 days and did this. Man, boy, man. In each of its two 7 portions is complete, all its light at rising and at the setting. On stated months, it changes settings. And on stated months, it makes it progress on each. In 2, the moon sets with the sun. In those 2 gates, which are in the midst, in the 3rd and 4th gate, it goes forth 7 days and makes its circuit. Again, it returns to the gate where the sun goes forth. In that, it completes the whole of its light. Then it declines from the sun and enters into the enters in 8 days into the 6th gate, from which the sun falls forth. What's happening is it's pulling away from the sun. It's following them. Watch this. When the sun proceeds into the 4th gate, it goes forth 7 days until it passes from the 5th. Again, it returns in 7 days to the 4th gate, and completing all its light declines, passes on by the 1st gate in 8 days. It returns in 7 days to the 4th gate, from which the sun goes forth. Thus I beheld their stations, according to the fixed order. That's the same thing Jubilee said. Shemayim tablets. The fixed order of the months, the sun rises and sets. Listen to this clearly, people. If you're sending this to somebody, find a time marker and send it, since you don't have patience to watch the whole thing. But listen to this part. At those times, there is an excess of 30 days belonging to the sun in 5 years, and all the days belonging to each of the 5 years, when completed, amount to 364 days. Do we hear this? And to the sun and stars belong 6 days, 6 days in each of the 5 years, 30 days belonging to them. So that the moon has 30 days less than the sun and stars. Do you hear this? All I said was that, right? 12, 13. The moon brings on all the years exactly, that their stations may not come forward, neither to forwards nor to backwards in a single day. So the moon has less days than the sun, but his job is to bring the year in and then let the sun rain. Wait, man, bro, this is crazy stuff. So listen, it's not moon worship.
Right.
It's just telling you they all have jobs.
And it really is telling us if the moon is bringing it on, that means it has to start when the moon comes out.
Right, because if the moon was the beginning of the months that I read to you in 73, and then it brings on all the years exactly, by Banah, we understand that the moon leads to bring the year in, but the sun is coming to rain.
Yeah.
Listen to this. That their stations may not come too forwards or too backwards a single day, but that the years, this is the reason the moon brings on all the years precisely, that the years may be changed with correct precision in 364 days. That's the reason why the moon has to be watched.
Depending on the year.
Exactly.
And guess what?
Man, bro.
But not to bring on.
But not lunar cycles. The moon is just giving its time to rain. Well, where would he get that? Bereshit 14 and 1 and 14, or Genesis 1, 14 through 15. He says he gave the greater light, Gadol Ur, to rule the day,
Yeah.
and the lesser light, Katan Ur, which means a smaller light, to rule the night. So all he's doing is working his shift. Now, if you don't believe me, go to Chronicles. You can see courses, like the course of Abiah, the course of this priest. They all have shifts. That's why I can show you the birth of the Mashiach, because Zechariah was working the course of Abiah recorded in Chronicles. Why doesn't the New Testament break down the courses? They don't have to. It's already mentioned.
And they already knew that.
Right. So when Masha gets this information, he already knows Hanuk. He already knows Nu. He already knows it. So all Yahuwah is restoring is the renewing of counts.
Look at this. Look at this.
Go ahead.
This is why when we look into the what they call the New Testament, and we see so many things that the apostles and they didn't talk about because they already knew it.
Right.
What Christianity got us thinking was that we're dealing with some people that were detached from their heritage.
Right.
They knew who they were.
Exactly.
They were already following Torah. Matter of fact, before the Mashiach came, they had already turned to Torah through the ministry of Yahuchanan. So
Jesse
even
Jackson
before
said
before he
JC
came,
JC would have been in agreement with homosexuality. He was talking about the Messiah because it's never mentioned in there. He doesn't have to mention homosexuality in the New Testament in his writings because it's already in the Torah. He said everything are in the prophets and writings spoke of me. Everything. He is the word that gave it. The word that says man don't lie with man was Yahuwah. As Yahushua. This is foolishness, man.
And I'm glad you kept on going.
I gotta keep it. I gotta finish because I want to be fair.
You know what I'm saying? But like, because when you started in 73, it was looking kind of funny for a second.
It was.
You know what I'm saying?
72,
Because
yeah.
Because a month, because even 72, even
Yeah.
73. When you said, we talk about their stations, I wrote that home. I wrote down the month as they occur and the appearance of their light. So like, okay, month, light. You talking about the moon?
Yeah.
So what's he saying? You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? But when you bring it back down into 13 or whatever, 14, it's like.
but
okay,
read that one more time. Can I share this real quick? Read that one more time. What you just said.
He said, hold on, where was that? I wrote down their months as they occur and the appearance of their light until it is completed in 15 days.
Now look at this. Look at this. This is a piece I think that we miss.
Right.
All right. He says that he wrote down as they occurred and the appearance of the light when it occurred. It didn't say that you saw the light and it made it occur.
That's
it said
right.
this is what the light looked like when it occurred.
Right.
I believe this is, and then when you go back and you look at what you just said, where the moon shows the light, we already see established that it's 364 days. You don't need the light to determine that,
That's right.
but that's what it's gonna look like when it happens.
And now it
The
brings-
time frame is already there.
And that's good, because now it brings this question: what does sign really mean?
Right.
Come
When
on.
you talk about sign,
Come
when
on,
I think of a sign,
Come
I'm
on,
thinking of if I'm riding down the street and there's a four-way and a dead end, and you go right or left. There's a sign right there that says stop, or it might say yield. But just because there's a sign there, they still understood that I need to stop to make sure nobody's coming.
That's right.
Regardless of the signs, if I have common sense, I need to stop. Regardless of the signs there or not, it's just to remind me of where I am.
That's why
The
it's
reminder.
That's why it says of the remembrances.
Watch this. Watch this. I'm in a car with one. I was a Christian at the time. I was in a car with one of my church brothers. We were going home. He was driving. We're riding up to getting close to a stoplight. The light is green. He starts slowing up. I look at him. I said, "The light's green. Why are you stopping?" He said, "Lights don't hit you. Cars do." Same thing you're talking about here. It's a sign. Look at the covenant that Yahuwah made with our father Abraham, and then he gave him the circumcision as a sign. It wasn't the covenant. He already made the covenant with him. The circumcision was just a sign.
Remind you of the covenant.
That's why Goyim can come into the covenant. See, that's why Goyim can come in, because he wasn't circumcised. The covenant was already made, like you said, before that. Now we go back to the sun and moon. They were made to rule the night and the day. That's my point. I'm saying, we play King of the Hill all day. You can't be a King of the Hill unless there's a hill to be king of.
Come on, Doc.
You get what I'm saying? I'm not the hill. I'm king of the hill once I push you off and make you fall into the mud.
No, you ain't gonna push me off.
All right, Joe. We gonna have to play this now. You got it. But listen, my point is, what I'm making is, if he made the sun to rule the day, he's not the day.
The sun is not the day.
He's ruling the day. That's his kingship. That's why it mentions a chariot that he rides in.
Can we prove that with when was the sun created?
That fourth day.
So how many days already went by before there was a sun?
3 days.
Okay.
3 days.
The sun nor the
I
moon
read y'all
are
the
the
first day
day.
creation. 3 days.
Good stuff.
So days were already counted. So the moon did not, watch this, the moon does not make the nights.
Right.
The moon rules the nights. You get what I'm saying? But the evening and the morning, the mixture and the daylight is the first day. See what I'm saying? It was already an essence of light there, because he created light. But the sun didn't bring on that light.
Watch the script right here.
The dude's name is Uriel, Lighters of Elohim. He was the one in charge of all this.
Hey, this is what Shaka Ban Yasharal. I want to say shalom to you and much love. Thanks for posting the script. All right, so here's the script. It's in Sirach 43, 6-8, and this is from the Common English Bible. This particular translation. It says the moon stands at its proper time, a notification of times. I didn't want to ignore this.
Yeah,
all right.
Go ahead.
It says a notification of times and an everlasting sign. The sign for a feast comes from the moon.
See?
A luminous body that wanes when it completes its course. The new moon shares the character of its name, increasing wonderfully as it changes. A signal on high for armies, shining in the vault of the sky. I think that's all that he posted.
What chapter was that?
That's Sirach 43, 6-8. So
I was actually going to read that.
Yeah, I just wanted to make sure I didn't
that wouldn't have
overlook
been
that.
ignored. But we're going to look at that too. I'm
Okay.
going to show you that. But I wasn't going to know. I got it wrote down right here.
Okay.
But I want to finish this one. 74. The moon, 74:13. The moon brings on all the years exactly, that the stations may not come neither to forwards nor to backwards a single day, but that the years may be changed with correct precision of 364 days. In 3 years, in total, I'm for reading that. But yeah, we will get to it. I ain't forgot. In 3 years, the days are 1,092. Look at that. So what did he do? 364 times 3. You do the math. You got clocks and calculators everywhere. I mean, clocks, calculators, and technology everywhere. So in 3 years, the years are 1,092. In 5 years, there are 1,820. Do the multiplication. 364 times 5. And in 8 years, 2,912 days. Do the multiplication. 364 times 8. He says doing math, son. That's math. To the moon alone. To the moon alone belong in 3 years 1,062 days. In 5 years, see, he does the math for you. It's 50 less for an addition made to the 62 days. In 5 years, there are 1,770 days, and the days of the moon in 8 years are 2,832 days to the moon alone. But that doesn't mean you have to be a lunatic. You get what I'm saying? Everything has balance. Yahuwah has righteous balance. I'm gonna keep reading. For its days in 8 years are less 80 days, and in 8 days there are diminution of 8 years. The year becomes truly complete according to the station of the moon and the station of the sun, which rise in the gates, which rise and set in them for 30 days. He didn't leave one out. He said that it's completed in these stations. What stations? Your position. Everything, even you, have a position to play in the kingdom. Everything has a... Who did he talk to? Uriel. He didn't talk to Gabriel about the positions. He didn't talk to Rapual, whose name means healing is of Yahuwah. He didn't talk to Mikael, who is like Elohim. He talked to Uriel. That is his job. Lights.
Isn't that where the word aura comes from?
That's where aura comes from. I'm glad you brought that up. I'm finna touch on that too. But watch this. Lights is his job. That's why he got mad at the fallen. They left their station. Remember, he said the stars that left their jobs. Come on now. You know what their job was? I found out. I read it in the script. I find it. Their job was to teach man righteousness on the earth.
They did opposite.
They didn't look down from the Shemayim. They were already here on a mountain. That's why they made the covenant on Hermon. They were supposed to be teaching righteousness while on Haaretz and seeing the daughters and wanting them. They walked out of their positions or their jobs. They left their jobs and got fired. I don't want to be fired. So here we go. Ura. Ura is where Ura comes from. Let's talk about that real quick, and I'm going to go to Sirach. Ura is where we get when they say it's an aura on you or a light. That's witchcraft.
Come on, teach it.
Ura. Ura is light. Orb comes from or too. It just shows our tongue. So what did Yahuwah say? Let your eye be full of Ur. Let it be single, focused on the Torah, and how full you will be of Ur, light. So the only Ur you really can have is the Torah of Yahweh.
Man.
Because he says if your eyes are everywhere, you are full of Hushah, or darkness. And how great is that darkness? But then he warns and says, make sure the Ur you have is not really Hushah. Or make sure the light you have is not really darkness.
Don't fool yourself.
So you can have a false light.
Come on,
the only true light that can fill you is the Torah.
The Torah. The law is a light and a lamp.
Unto my feet.
This is what he told us.
To my path.
The light. He said the law is a light unto my feet,
And
a lamp unto my feet, and a light unto my path.
That's right.
He said, I hide these words in my heart that I might not commit crime against you.
That's it.
So then, like you said, that light that Yahushua is talking
yeah.
about, he's talking about the law.
And so people, they what they call it? What they call that? Middle Eastern, Easternize it and make it some crazy Hindu ritual. But when he's talking about the aura that's on you, or the aura is fullness of light. So if you say like aura, let's give you an example right here. Aura is light. Urim is lights. That's why we're Urim Utumim. We're lights and perfection, or light. Because you don't really have to pluralize light. The light shines. It's Urim anyway. It's
right.
Light. Because light is not. I'm finna go into
it's
something.
everywhere.
It's like Elohim. Elohim, people have always told me that it's plural. So there's 3 in the Shemayim and many of them. No, Yahuwah is singular. Elohim, guess what it means? Elohim means power. It's like electricity. You don't say electricities when you got a shop. I got electrified by electricity. That power is already in its fullness. It's like water. Mayim represents a body of a sea or yam, or it represents a little drop. It's still Mayim. You can't limit the fullness of it.
This is good stuff.
It is what it is. So Elohim, they said Elohim because they can't limit his power. He is power. So that pluralizing of the word. So here we go. Ura is the fullness of light. It's like Ahaba. I say Ahaba Ushalom. I say fullness of love and peace. Ura is the fullness of light. But you can't get the fullness of light through any other doctrine except for the Torah. So what they're doing is they're taking bits and pieces of the Torah. Like Buddha. He took the golden rule. Do unto others as you should have others do to yourself. That was in the book already. So they're just perverting what was already there. So aura, when you say there's an aura on you, you might be full of darkness. Because if you're trying to read somebody's aura without judging the fruit through the Torah,
you're wicked.
You pay.
You're walking in wickedness.
You're walking in wickedness.
And witchcraft.
But he tells you to judge the spirits by the word and judge the spirits by the spirit. And he even tells you to judge them by their fruit. So he's telling you to look at the light of a person. What light do they present?
Right.
But see, we take that and run with it, but he also tells you beware of bad bread, which is the doctrines.
Right.
But they don't hear nobody saying, "Oh man, you bread, man. You bread and bad."
Some of the most wicked people in existence are very nice.
That's it. Nice has nothing to do with it.
Nothing to do with it.
It's nice because a snake can put on the skin he wants you to see. That niceness means nothing. Yahuwah never said, because Yahuwah actually was a very sharp man to people. He was very sharp to a lot of people. Because I remember one passage he said, "You offend us lawyers," and he said, "And you lawyers." He went to rebuke them, and they were following him. So be careful about what it says, flattering lips. Let's go to that Sirach that he's talking about.
So let me go to Ak
Let's go to
Yarban Yasharal. He said, not being funny, but seeking understanding. So does that make us nocturnal beings? And can I go ahead and answer that?
Yeah, go ahead. That's on my end.
Okay, so I'm going to say with that, no, it doesn't, because what we have to understand is we can't read more into what it says than what it says. It never said that we had to be up moving around at night. It's not talking about our activity.
That's why he appoints us watchmen.
Right. You know what I'm saying? So it's not just because that if the evening beginning the day doesn't mean that we have to be up working at that time. It never specified that you had to do that, and we just have to not read more into what is being said.
And see, that's the thing. Like when it says we make us nocturnal beings, no, because we still children of the light, but the light is the Torah. So if you're up at night, you're still working on them watches. That's why I don't know if you've seen that teaching where I give watches. That's why we had watchmen. Because even when Yahushua, when he was praying, he said, "Can you not watch with me at least 1 hour?" That was late at night. Yeah, like 3
Hey,
something.
I'm down to 4%. I'm sorry, I'm down to 4%. Go ahead and
read, and we'll go into that another time. But no, it doesn't make us nocturnal beings because we walk in Yahuwah.
To for the question, Doc.
Okay.
44?
43, 6 through 8. Okay. 5. I'm gonna start at 5 first though. Great is Yahweh that made it, and his commandment runs hastily. So we skipped all the way down, but we should have read about the sun too, because it talks about the sun. But let's do 6 though. He made the moon also to serve in her season, for a declaration of times. In her season. So there was actually appointed Moedim that kick out what season? Spring. Total for that off. And a sign of the world. From the moon is the sign of feast. A light that decreases in her perfection. The month is called after her name, and increasing wonderfully in her changing, being an instrument of armies above, shining in the expanse of heaven. So that makes sense, because the beginning of months is the moon. But that's in this, because you got to understand, a month in her name, we got to know that Sirach was not written in this, it was written in Abra.
Right.
So what is it actually saying in Abra? Because they didn't say month, they said Hadash. And they said Yara. So back to what I was saying, Hadash couldn't even be the word for new moon, for full moon, or for moon. The word is Yara. So what we would have to do is get the actual Abra to see what this actually says.
Right.
Because even in this, the month is called after her name. You know, that could be anything. Because that means the month can actually be called by the moon's name.
And also the translation. The translation that he posted was different also.
Yeah, it was.
So, you know, we have to look at different translations. Like at the beginning, the very beginning of the video, when you went to all those different translations just to show people, hey, this is what it says in this, this and that. So yeah, this just it has to be dug out.
Yeah, it's gotta be. We gotta be true to how we study. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And even in this, the reason why I'm telling you that it's 364 days, we have all these witnesses.
Right.
I went from multiple books showing 364 days, but it's the year. And then I closed it out in Hanuk, saying that the moon brings on all these years precisely. So what I'm doing is I'm showing you a balance. Even though I showed you new moon, lunar, full moon, are you a lunatic? What I'm saying is you can't be a sun worshiper or a moon worshiper. You have to have balance. Yahuwah, everything that Yahuwah does is in balance. So if you say, I'm going to start my day when the sun comes up, that ain't what Yahuwah said though. You doing something against what he said. Because if he gave us a perfect Shabbat, we got to find out, we have to be obedient enough to say, when is your Shabbat? We can't say, well, I feel comfortable doing this. Because your comfort, you know, Ak told me that, and Barak Yahuwah for that, Ak told me that testimony. They said, I was closing my bar, they had a barbershop, and they were closing their barbershop down during Shabbat on that night side. they were finishing up their sales. And he was like, he asked Yahuwah, he was like, am I breaking your commandment? Because it's not what I feel. Am I working on your Shabbat? And he said, as soon as he prayed that prayer, you know, I sent in the video when the day starts. Yahuwah knew I was being obedient. You get what I'm saying? He said, man, this was right on time. So, you know, I'm not saying I'm right. I'm saying Yahuwah's right. And we have to go by these things. 30, 30, 31, 91 days, times 4, 364 days. That's what Hanuk got. Now, if we dismiss Hanuk, we got to dismiss a lot of books. Because Abram, the book of Hebrews, talks about Hanuk. The book of Genesis, the book of Jasher. All these books talk about this man. So that means they trusted this man at some point. It was the Catholic Church that removed these books. So what I'm telling you is to go back to the book of Hanuk, break down what I said, then go to go to Jubilees and break down what he said, go to Jasher and look at Masha's text. Masha never mentions when a month starts. He just says this month is the beginning of Abib.
They already knew it.
Yeah, because now he's bringing Egyptians into it that has to learn it too. But that's why he went to the elders with all this.
Good stuff. Go ahead and close us out, Doc.
Man, hallelujah, Yahuwah, man. Baruch atah Hashem Yahweh, Eloheinu melech haolam, melech olamim. I pray, Yahweh, that you push every feeling, every heart aside and let the Ruh speak so they can truly see what we're relating to them. I do everything you told me to do in obedience, Abba. And I know it's because of your love you're trying to bring us all under one community, all under one truth, all under your Torah. We ask you right now that you touch those. I believe you at your word and I trust you. And for all the Ahim and Ahotut who listen, Abba Yahuwah, I ask you to increase them even more so and give them a greater barakah on this Shabbat day. In Yahuwah Yahushua's name, Amen.
Amen.